It was supposed to be a typical awards night, a celebration of excellence, power, and perseverance. Cameras flashed, the room glowed in gold, famous faces smiled under perfect lights. And in the middle of it all, Serena Williams, dressed in royal black, fierce as ever. She just received the Lifetime Legacy Award for her contributions to sport and culture, but what happened next wasn't in the script, wasn't rehearsed. And it wasn't planned, because right there, in front of a worldwide audience, Serena broke down, tears streaming, mascara running live. On stage, IT wasn't from joy, wasn't for nostalgia. IT was something else, something deeper, something raw. The audience held its breath, and no one understood what was happening until the screen behind her lit up, and a calm, resolute voice from West Africa, filled the hall. Serena, I speak to you, not just as the president of Burkina Faso, but as a brother, a fellow fighter, someone who sees the war you fought, not with guns, but with silence, with stares, with expectation. The room froze as Serena's hands trembled, her lips parted, and that's when the first tear fell, not from sadness, but recognition, because Traoré wasn't just delivering a tribute. He was unearthing something, a shared truth, a buried connection, and the world was about to see it unfold. To understand why this moment shattered Serena, you have to go back, not just to Compton, not to the courts or the trophies, but to the spaces in between, the nights after losses, the interviews with loaded questions, the headlines that smiled with teeth. They didn't just want me to win. They wanted me to win quiet, T.O. win pretty, T.O. win polite. She said that once that I in a documentary most people skipped, but Traoré didn't skip IT. In fact, he'd studied it, watched her rise from a world that wasn't built for her, to become the very standard of excellence it tried to exclude. And Traoré knew something about fighting systems, because across the Atlantic, in Burkina Faso, he wasn't playing tennis. He was surviving coups, battling corruption, leading a youth revolution in a country where democracy was constantly betrayed. They called him the youngest president in Africa, a soldier, a nationalist, but they didn't call him what he really was, a man carrying a nation's trauma, trying not to collapse under it. I see how they look at you. They cheer you when you win, but question your anger, your body, your hair, your voice. His voice cracked just slightly, and Serena, she hadn't expected that. No one had. The award show producers had planned a speech, a jazz interlude, polite applause, champagne. But Traoré sent a video, a personal message, unapproved, unfiltered, and he sent it knowing this was bigger than politics, bigger than sport. This was about dignity, and in that hall filled with billionaires and brands, a young African president and a black American legend connected in silence, because dignity doesn't wear medals, IT wears scars. The screen behind Serena faded into black and white footage, not of matches, not of rallies, but of her sitting alone, headphones in, eyes closed, moments the media never saw. And Traoré kept speaking. They only measure your strength when it's seen, but I see the strength in your silence, the discipline to rise when they've already written your fall. I know that burden, and I honor it. Serena was weeping now, not sobbing, not shaking, just releasing years of pressure, not being the angry black woman, the masculine athlete, the controversial champion. In that moment, it didn't matter that she had 23 Grand Slams, that she had changed fashion, motherhood, endorsements. What mattered was that someone saw her, really saw her, and that someone was a man from Burkina Faso who'd never held a tennis racket, but knew what it meant to fight. T.O. be misunderstood. T.O. carry a revolution alone. He saw Meher's voice was barely audible, but the microphone caught it. And the world heard it. Some people cried in the audience. Some just sat there, still unsure of what they were witnessing, because this wasn't a speech. IT was a reckoning. Traoré ended with one final line. Sister, thank you. You didn't just open doors. You showed us how to walk through them with pride. Then silence, heavy, electric, and eternal. You could feel it pressing on every chest in that room. Serena stepped away from the mic in no acceptance speech. Oh, thank you list. Just the BOW, T.O. him, but T.O. herself, T.O. the fight. That night went viral. Clips of Serena crying, Traoré's voice. Commentators struggling to explain what had happened, but you can't explain truth. You feel it, and something about that moment, unrehearsed, unscripted, undeniable. It stuck. News anchors called it a political gesture. Pundits debated whether it was appropriate, but they missed the point, because for millions, especially young black kids, watching Serena cry wasn't weakness. IT was permission, the T.O. feel, the T.O. be seen, T.O. be human. I didn't cry watching Serena win her last match. I cried watching her finally be understood. That's what real legacy looks like, not just trophies, but truth. Weeks later, Serena posted a single photo, a close-up of her and Traoré backstage, months before the event, neither smiling, just sitting side by side, as if they'd already shared something the world hadn't yet earned. Caption: some battles are fought with words, some with silence. We chose both. That post hit 10 million likes, and Traoré, he didn't speak about the moment again. He returned to Burkina Faso, to reforms, roads, and rallies. But in every speech, every address, there was something different in his tone, not louder, not softer, just wider, more human. Because when leaders see leaders, not in boardrooms, but in the quiet, that's when change begins. We're not just building nations, that we're building mirrors so our people can see their worth reflected back. And Serena, she didn't return to the court, didn't need to, because that one night, with one message, did what no match ever could. It made her story bigger than tennis, bigger than sports, bigger than race, gender, borders. It made her human. And that was enough.